Hello and welcome back to YoungoTV, your go-to source for youth-led perspectives here on COP28. I'm your host, Elite Doris. First up, let's delve into the technical and institutional aspects surrounding the emerging issues related to oceans, land, and mountains. Elizabeth will guide us through how these critical matters have found their place on the COP28 agenda. Over to you, Elizabeth.
Today is Nature, Land Use and Oceans Day. Most probably you have everything to ask what Nature, Land Use and Oceans Day have to do with climate change. According to meeting of the Paris Agreement, Agenda Item 4, the draft text of the Global Stocktake, which was just released yesterday, it calls upon parties to restore, conserve and protect nature and ecosystems. Now, if we're looking at nature, if we're looking at land use, and if we're looking at ecosystems, these are sources of our carbon sinks. And failure to protect, failure to conserve them, it means that we are emitting a lot of GHG gases in the atmosphere. Therefore, today, people are doing different events, different sessions to advocate for the protection and the conservation of our nature-based solutions.
Our next segment explores the crucial topics of conservation, nature-based solutions, and the call for climate ceasefire and the pursuit of climate justice. Jamie, take it away and enlighten us on these pressing matters.
Hi, it's Jamie Cummings from the field here. We're out in front of an action that's taking place at COP28. It's a combined action all about climate justice, and that justice goes in turn with justice that they're saying goes with the liberation of the people of Palestine. They're calling for a ceasefire. We can see this action was organized by various climate justice activists, a bunch of different groups. They're out here in front of the negotiators. They're referring to the US's veto and the UK's abstention from the UN resolution to call for a ceasefire in Israel. You can see now that there are lots of people with banners demanding the ceasefire and how it goes in turn with the climate justice here at COP28. That's all. Thanks.
Before we move forward, a quick mention of the Youngo press conference. Jamie, could you provide us with some highlights from this significant event?
Jamie here to talk to you all about the press conference that happened this morning on behalf of Youngo. There were speakers representing a wide range of regions who were harmonizing on the fact that youth engagement in the COP process is critical. They especially highlighted how youth have been involved in this process for nearly 2 decades since the very first COP. They especially harped on the fact that the Global Youth Statement is a critical document that all parties need to see and that has been a part of Youngo since its insemination.
Now let's delve into a high-level interview with Hamira Kobusigie on loss and damage.
Hi, my name is Hamira Kobusigie. I am from Uganda, and I have been closely following the loss and damage negotiations at COP28. I am glad that the loss and damage fund was accepted, and I am glad that the global South at least has a ray of light in terms of reparations. My heartbreak and my plight is that there's so little money that has been pledged for the loss and damage fund, and major polluters have given very little money. US and other countries having pushed this so much, we are disappointed that the funds that have been contributed are so little, and they cannot actually even help one country from the global South to actually restore what they lost during the crisis of the climate crisis, or during the strategies and the brunt that that our countries suffer. Also, as we move forward, we should know that prevention is as important as recovery, and let's not just focus on loss and damage. Let's also remember the root cause of the problem that we are facing, which is the climate crisis. Let's remember that we need to phase out of fossil fuels. We need to also invest in adaptation and mitigation for there to be a better and justifiable and justful balance and in development and to achieve climate justice. Thank you very much. I hope this COP and the presidency know that we need to phase out of fossil fuels and we need to have a just transition for the global south. The developed countries need to know that it's not just paying into loss and damage and adaptation, but it is also that we need to mitigate and we need to phase out of the fossil fuel industry. We need to know that prevention is as good as recovery, but also we need to remember that we need to have a way of replenishing the loss and damage fund. We know there has been money that has been pulled into that fund and pledged into the fund, but what is our way forward? How do we replenish the fund to keep having money in the fund? Let's not just pledge money just to silence the civil society, but let's pledge money to actually make a difference for the next generation and to actually restore our planet and to save the children that are starving. Let's remember that when we discuss the matters we discuss at COP, we actually discuss about lives, about people, and about children, about women, about communities, about real breathing people and real living communities and children who are really being affected in this world today because of the climate crisis. So let us remember that we are talking for people, and let us work as if we know that lives are being lost, which is actually true. Lives are being lost. People are being displaced. Let us negotiate. Let us make policies. Let us invest in the loss. Let us actually pledge into the loss and damage fund as if we are pledging for a community that we know human beings live in. It is not just numbers. It is actual people. Thank you very much.
As we wind down today's broadcast, Nika will wrap up with a recap of events from day 9 here at COP28. Nika, go ahead.
Thank you, Litz. Let me take you through the recap of Day 9 at COP28. Nature, Land Use and Ocean Day saw leaders endorse commitments and pledges of over $186 million to drive climate action and continue to build momentum to protect and restore nature. A number of landmark commitments on forest, mangroves, landscape restoration, nature finance, and the ocean were announced, reaffirming that near-term action on nature is essential to deliver the goals of the Paris Agreement. Over $186 million of new financing for nature and climate towards forest, mangroves, and the ocean was announced during the Nature, Land Use, and the Ocean Day. This funding builds on the $2.5 billion mobilized to protect and restore nature during the COP28's World Climate Action Summit on the 2nd of December. A key policy outcome of Nature, Land Use, and Ocean Day is a joint statement between the COP28 presidency and the Convention on Biological Diversity chaired by the People's Republic of China. The COP28 joint statement on climate, nature, and the peoples was endorsed by 18 countries who led climate, nature, and 11 biodiversity partnerships across forest, mangroves, and the ocean. This signaled a new commitment for countries to coordinate and simultaneously implement their nature and climate strategies. The Forest Carbon Resource and Credits Roadmap was launched by 15 governments and outlined a plan to scale investment in forest carbon resources and credits, emphasizing the significant potential of forest carbon markets to scale payments for climate and environmental services. more than 150 businesses and financial institutions announced plans to set climate and nature targets under the Science-Based Target Network and Science-Based Target International's Forest Land and Agriculture frameworks. Under these frameworks, businesses agreed to increase investments in the nature-based solutions to begin assessing, managing, and disclosing their nature-related impacts, dependencies, risks, and opportunities through a task force on nature-related financial disclosures framework. I'm Nika Herona reporting from COP28.
And that concludes our coverage for today. Thank you to our reporters and stay tuned for more on YoungoTV. I'm Elite Doris and see you next time.